Hey, this is Ihab, and in this video I'm going to talk about one-point tracking. So the way we use the one-point tracking is to attach certain visuals on a point. In this example, I shot this footage from an airplane before the takeoff, where the flight mode was on and everything is safe for the sake of flight. And I think the reason why I shot this because it's the perfect example for the one-point tracking. But before that, I want to introduce something that could also be incredibly helpful for whatever tracking job that we do, and that is stabilizing. So, in order for us to stabilize a video, we need to first understand that stabilizing means that it's going to crop from the video in order for us to get that kind of smoother movement. So I'm just gonna play just a little bit of this footage just to show you how much shaking there is going on. I'm just gonna stop it here, hit Ctrl+Shift+D. Oh, I cannot hit Shift-Control-D because I have another software that activates it. I'm just gonna crop it here. So I'm gonna go into the menu of tracking, and in order for me to stabilize, there are two different stabilizers. The one that I usually use, which I find to be pretty convenient and pretty good and easy to use, is Warp Stabilizer. So once you click on excuse me, Warp Stabilizer, it goes into two phases. The first one here, where it's analyzing all the frames, and during that process it would show you here how many frames have been processed, and it would also give you an estimate of time. So if you give it some time here, it would show like 19 seconds left. So that's pretty convenient. So what's going to happen now is that based on the level of smoothness that I have here, it's going to give me some stabilizing effect, and I will show you also what's happening actually behind the scene right now. So let me play the video that is done with stabilizing. Once you see that strip of orange, that means it's finishing up. So now that I'm playing this video, I'm just gonna give it at least one turn, just so the RAMs would be processed, or the footage would be processed through the cache or RAMs on the computer, so it would play smoothly. And now you can see there's a drastic difference between how much shaking there were going on and this one. Of course, you also notice that we have lost a lot of the footage, and in order for us to see how much we lost out of that footage, I'm gonna change the framing into stabilize only, and now you can see what's actually happening. The science behind this is that it's choosing certain points, and it's gonna be using them in a way as a reference point where, like, okay, this needs to be stabilized. In the meantime, everything else can be moved around, rotated and scaled and tweaked in a way that this area here that After Effects can detect would be able to be manageable to be stabilized. If you were to increase the smoothness, which I never recommend you to push it like further than 100 or 120, because that would be a little bit too much. The increasing of smoothness would make a much nicer stability, but also you would lose more of the footage. But of course that is only decided based on the footage you're working on and also how you're going to use it. So in terms of tracking, this would be a much easier video to track. The trick is you cannot really trick this footage in an effective way right after you apply the warp stabilizer. You cannot just go and say like, oh, let me add the tracking effect on top of it, which is here, because even though it is tracked right now, it's still in the mode of the raw footage, meaning that it's still seen by After Effects as a video that is shaky. Just because we see it here with the effect doesn't mean that it is implemented yet. So if you want to stabilize a footage before you use the tracking, you need to render out this result, and only then, when you render it out as a separate video, as a new video, only then when you go and track it will it work fine as a stabilized footage. With that said, I'm going to demonstrate the 1-point tracking even without the stabilization, just to show you how good the tracking points are. And also for me, I'm really interested in using something that is challenging. So, you know, I always try to make the video provide you with the problematic aspects of whatever effect, in addition to the successes behind it. Because if I can show you some failures and then how to fix those failing points, then you would gain more experience rather than me demonstrating for you a perfectly functioning tutorial and then you go on your own and then things go crazy and then you have no idea what to do. So it's really important to introduce problem solving.